For more on that, I'm now joined by Ayo Johnson, Africa expert from London. He speaks to us on the phone. Ayo Johnson, welcome to the program. What is the significance of the rejection by Russia and China of the U.S. proposed sanctions against Mr. Mugabe?
Well, it's very significant. It sends a very clear message to Britain and America and all the other allies that they can't interfere in the affairs of Zimbabwe. And clearly, the Russians and the Chinese alike, who are clearly partners with Zimbabwe in terms of trade and aid, are not prepared to accept this or stand for that any further. But it also sends another message whereby the G8 who recently met and would feel aggrieved that the Russians would have come back from an earlier agreement that they had with them verbally to say that they would support them in this sanction, but naturally they've turned their backs on them and have agreed in principle to support Mugabe and give peace, at least peace, a chance.
Now, the British Broadcasting Corporation and other Western channels have launched what a lot of people say is a massive propaganda campaign against Mugabe. Now, with the new development of the UN Security Council, how will they justify this media war?
Well, it will be slightly more difficult. But again, one would actually look at all the statistics, which actually show exactly the fact that life expectancy is only 34 in Zimbabwe. 80% of the population are without jobs. The economy has not been managed as it could have been otherwise due to the lack of the sanctions that were imposed on the regime. They may be able to use that as a means of propelling or saying that Zimbabwe needs change. But in saying that, they would have to stand back and accept the fact that peace would have to be given a chance, and for Thabo Mbeki, who's in South Africa, to have the opportunity to continue the mediation he's been doing thus far, to come to some resolution whereby the two parties, both the MDC of Morgan Tsvangirai and the ZANU-PF of Mugabe, can form some level of unity government. I think in principle, both sides want to form a unity government, but the specification as to who would lead it, who would be in charge, who would have the power, who would then have a position that would be lackluster is the issue at this junction. And I think those are the fine lines which the South African press needs to address.
And finally, Britain is perceived by many as doing its best to topple President Mugabe. Please tell us briefly why London is putting so much effort in doing this.
Well, the reasons would stem, one, being a former colonial country, Zimbabwe, and of course the fact that Zimbabwe only recently had their independence, which was in 1980, and of course following the Rhodesia War, and Mr. Mugabe being seen as some level of a freedom fighter, and the fact that Mugabe has always been around. He's never really left since the days of colonialism. He was there. Today he's still there, and I think the Brits and the Americans would rather see him leave and have someone take his place. But again, the ZANU-PF are not prepared to do so. They think that Mugabe is their leader and their leader for life. It would appear so.